Hey guys, it's Veronica from teacherveronica.com, and on this channel you will learn tips and tricks for teaching online and making money while staying home with your kids. So you're here because you want to know how to make $2,000+ per month while working part-time from home. This is real, guys. This is real. I am doing it, and I have been doing it for the last 3 years. However, I recently started working smarter instead of harder. And I want to share how I did that with you. But before we get started, please hit that subscribe button below. It helps me out a great deal, and you can be notified of upcoming content. First and foremost, here is my disclaimer. I am not a teacher by trade. I have been homeschooling my kids for the last 13 years, and I've also been teaching online for the last 3 years. I made the decision to stay home with my kids way back. Hang on. It's my mom. Hang on. So I first made the decision to start homeschooling way before I even had kids, way before I even met my husband. That is maybe a video for another day, but due to my line of work, I had decided that I wanted to homeschool my kids when the time was right. I'm a social worker by trade. I've always worked around children in one capacity or another, and I absolutely love doing so. So if you like children and you have something to teach them, you can definitely be making money from home while teaching kids. I teach on a platform called OutSchool, and this allows me to be able to teach any subject I want within their guidelines. There's very few things that you can't teach. I tell you this because you don't have to be a teacher to teach something that you're passionate about or that you know a lot about. If you love to play the guitar and you've never taught a soul, but you like doing it, you can most definitely capitalize on that. What are the things I need in order to work from home teaching like this? I personally have a dedicated classroom. This is called my dining room. We have actually relocated our dining room to another part of the house. We kind of split it with the living room. It works for us. You can have a temporary setup where you put it up and take it down. Some people teach in their laundry room. Some people have a spare room. It really is endless. Wherever you can get a stable internet connection and have good lighting, you can teach there. So there are people that teach from their closets with some lighting on their face. It's doable. It is definitely possible. You don't need to spend a lot of money. Use what you have. Use your current computer. Use your laptop camera if you don't have an external camera. You do need some headphones to teach online because the quality of audio is greatly improved when you use headphones that have a noise-canceling microphone. But you don't need a bunch of bells and whistles. I personally am a prop minimalist. When I first started teaching online, I thought I needed all the props. I needed all the examples of everything I could possibly imagine, and I managed to fill up. You can't see all of it, but this cubby over here has 9 drawers. Actually, it has 7 drawers, but 9 holes. The truth is that I barely use these props. I use my phone for Realia a lot to show them an example of something. I have a few things here and there that I'll use, like a puppet or a stuffed animal, an ice cream cone that I sometimes use for reward or also use to teach colors and numbers. But in all honesty, you do not need a whole lot of props. If you have kids, grab some of their toys as props. They're free, you already have them, and when your kids find them in your desk, it'll be like having a brand new toy. So here are my tips for teaching on the OutSchool platform. First and foremost, have a video that is going to grab parents' attention. Tell them about you, showcase yourself. If you play the guitar, if you sing, if you have some sort of special interest, use that intro video to showcase you. If you really truly love something, your passion will come through in the video. Okay, that's an easy one right out the door. The second thing that I recommend you do is stick to a niche. For example, if you want to teach music, I would list a variety of classes around that topic. So you could do a group class, you could do one-on-one classes, You could do different instruments depending on what you play or what you are good at. And start off with that and do those really well. Get some parent ratings. Once you start being reviewed, you'll see your followers start to increase. Parents want to take classes from teachers that other parents like. I mean, we do it too. We want to buy products that other people have tried and have loved. It's the same thing. So stick to a niche. You can have 1 or 2 main topics that you teach, branch out to 3 as you get going, but don't try to do all the things at once in the beginning. When I started out, I wanted to do all of the things. So I started listing a bunch of random classes and it didn't look cohesive. It was like a music and movement for 3 and 4-year-olds, and then a conversational Spanish class for teenagers and preteens, and guitar classes for ages 7 to 10, and read aloud for ages 4 to 6. And I was just all over the place. So starting off with just 1 specific niche, 1 or 2 at most, would be ideal. Another tip I have is to make your class listing, the little thumbnail that you attach to your class listing, make it bright, colorful, eye-catching so that parents are drawn to it. You don't want to just be scrolled by. I mean, I'm looking through classes sometimes for my kids to take classes, and I'm just scrolling, and nothing's catching my eye. So make sure that your thumbnail is eye-catching, because people aren't necessarily looking at titles. They are, but if they type in a topic, they type in how to write an essay or guitar classes for beginners, and all of these classes come up, they're just scrolling. They're looking at pictures. It's the visual that's going to draw them in. So make sure that you have a bright, colorful, eye-catching thumbnail attached to your class. I use canva.com to create my thumbnails, and I have a tutorial on how to do that. I'll link it up here, and you can watch that if you're interested in learning how to make thumbnails or even curriculum. I use Canva to create my curriculum. If and when you do decide to take the leap and teach online, I suggest playing around with different hours, especially if you're teaching on OutSchool, and see what works for you, what books for you. I know some people teach evenings. I do not. I need to go to bed early. I need to get rest. I spend time with my family during the evening, so I don't teach evening classes. Last but not least, please do not overlook this tip. Share your profile, your classes on social media, on parent groups that you belong to. Share it on your Facebook, share it on your Instagram, share it wherever you can share it, because many people haven't heard of these platforms. Honestly, OutSchool is great because when you refer a new parent, they get a $20 credit to take any class they like, and in turn, I also get a $20 credit for my own kids to take classes, so it's a win-win. And if you don't want to teach for OutSchool, you don't have to. There are other companies around. There's OutSchool, LumaLearn, there's SplashLearn. They're a company that teaches math. There's Palfish. There are so many different companies. I mean, lists and lists and lists of companies. If you Google work from home teaching jobs, you will come upon tons of companies. So you don't have to just teach for OutSchool. That's just who I teach for. So how much can you make teaching online from home? I work for 2 different companies, but I have majorly cut back on my first company, my baby, which was VIP Kid. I am still teaching for them regularly. I still open the same regular slots, but instead of starting at 3:30 a.m., I'm starting at 5:30 a.m. The reason I did this is because when I started making money with OutSchool, I realized my time is better spent on OutSchool because I'm getting paid much more per hour. When school started a month ago, I needed to make sure we had a steady routine going. So we needed to set those expectations, and I decided to take my schedule down a notch or 2. So here's what happened in September once I decided to scale back. I worked 27 hours for OutSchool. That's an average of about 6.5 to 7 hours per week on OutSchool, and I made $1,500. That's a pretty good hourly wage. I also worked for VIP Kid. I devoted 57 hours the month of September to VIP Kid, 14 hours per week, so about twice as much as OutSchool. And I made $1,300, maybe a little bit more, $1,350. Ever since that pay scale took effect in August, because I cut back on my hours, I actually had a decrease in my overall hourly wage with VIP Kid. Not happy about that, and most teachers aren't happy about that. So I worked almost twice as much for VIP Kid and made almost as much as I did for OutSchool. If you add all of that up, the 57 hours plus the 27 hours and what I made all together, it pans out to about $30, $35 an hour. So it's not horrible, but VIP Kid is the one driving my hourly wage way down. Is it still a viable option? Yes, it is. Even though the pay is less now than what I was used to before, I'm still working from home. And I always think it's a good idea to have a backup and not just teach for one company, because you just never know what's going to happen. Things change. Your schedule can either blow up with classes or it can take a nosedive. So it's always good to have something, a backup plan, especially if you rely on this as your main source of income. Okay, September, I let you know that I took it easy. The month before that, August, from OutSchool alone, I brought home $2,300 and I worked a total of 31 hours. That's less than 8 hours a week. 8 hours a week. Do you have a part-time job that does that? I'm really not trying to brag. I'm trying to show you that there is potential, that you can do this. I'm doing it, and I've got a bazillion other things going on. If I can do it, you can do this too. Can do it, you can do. There are teacher friends of mine that are making loads more than I am. Some of them don't have kids, some of them have kids that are out of the house already, so it's easier for them to devote more time to teaching. But what's that saying? Comparison is the thief of joy, maybe? Yeah, you do you. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's. Just know that I am a living, breathing example that you can do this. Starting is always the hardest part, but once you jump in, you've got no other choice but to swim. Don't be afraid if you've never taught. You can do this. Seriously, guys, it's worth it. If you haven't looked into teaching online, take my word for it. You don't have to be a teacher. You do have to like kids. Kids are very perceptive. They can tell if you're not having fun. They can tell if you're faking it. My goal, aside from them learning, my goal is for kids to have fun, to have a blast in class. Because guess what? They're going to tell their friends about it. They're going to want their friends to take classes with them, and they're going to want to keep booking classes with me. That is my philosophy for VIP Kid also, and that is how I have built a base of regular students. So be genuine, be happy, and truly enjoy yourself. If you're teaching something you love, it will definitely show. And if you're new to this whole teaching thing and you want some resources, head on over to my website, teacherveronica.com, and look under freebies. I have some resources that could be useful to you in your online teaching, and they're free. And stay tuned, because I'll be making videos about homeschooling very soon. I want to share with you what has worked for us, what hasn't worked from a veteran homeschooling family. Once those videos are listed, you'll find them here. In the meantime, check out my channel for other tips and tricks on how to teach online and make money while staying home with your kids. Happy teaching and be blessed. Bye.